Rika and
Jessica Rabbit.
welcome back to another episode of Soul Healer Podcast. We have a special guest today, Sálid Sims with KingshiD Talk, the
Yes,
podcast. So, King, let me ask you a question. Is it a play on King shit or
that's exactly what it is.
okay?
That's exactly what it is. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on that. My brother and I kind of came up with that because everything that we did, we tried to do to the best of our abilities. And he would always have this little thing where he'd say, "Come on now, we gotta have that king shit." And so
Okay.
once he and I started doing other things, I was like, okay, we can't just go around saying king shit all the
Okay.
time. So it's King Shid. So that's when we changed it. Now, unfortunately, he passed in September.
My
So
Oh,
I
wow.
really started, putting it out there a lot more once that happened to kind of, keep our thing alive. But that's exactly what it is, though. It's king shit.
Okay. All
Mm.
right. So today's topic is going to be on relationships, a different perspective, because women feel we know everything. So it's good to have a male perspective when it comes to other stuff. And this topic will be relationships. But let me speak to my girl real quick. Jessica Rabbit, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm making it. I was tired. I was drained. I think I'm going through withdrawals from marijuana, but I slept it off a little bit.
Okay.
My husband's taking a break, so I'm gonna take a break with him. And I'm like, do we have to do this together? But teamwork makes the dream work. That's part of a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to support each other no matter what, right?
That's right.
What about you, Sálid? How are you doing today?
I'm doing well now. It started kind of rocky because I got me a new puppy about a month ago, and he's still getting used to me, and I'm still getting used to him. But I think we got it pretty much down packed now. The past couple of days have been great, but for some reason this morning he wanted to act out some. He kind of got away from me, so I got my morning jog in by chasing him. He's a mini poodle, so his little legs go so fast.
Oh,
Oh, I
Yeah,
heard about Ace. I listened to the episode where you
yeah,
introduced Ace, also known as Ashe.
that's right. That's right.
See,
I,
I'm
I wanted a
smart.
mini
You own it.
poodle.
You own it. Yeah.
You want one? Girl,
Yes,
you
that's
got two dogs already.
no. What with Giselle? They tricked me. They said, "Oh, she's not gonna be big. She's gonna be." Girl, bye. That little girl bigger than my male dog. I'm like, what is this?
The trickery.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad everybody's doing well now. No matter how we started off, we are doing good right now. And all we can do is be present and, come back into our bodies.
Yes.
There-
Yes.
So before we start talking about relationships, I want to ask you, are you currently in a relationship?
Yes. I am in a relationship now. It's been refreshing thus far. I'll say that. Totally positive. Not all peaches and cream, of course. Anyone that's, been in relationships, whether long term or short term, they know that, you have your ups and downs and things like that. But right now, I'm solid.
Okay. And how long have you guys been together?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah, about a year.
In it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we learn new things about each other, all the time. We've had the tough discussions, and for a while it was going a little quote unquote too well.
Mm,
Mhm.
So the slightest little thing that happened seemed humongous because we were so used to things going smooth. So it forced a lot of hard conversations, but it was for the better. You know, got stronger after those conversations.
okay. So let's rewind a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast before we get into the discussion?
My podcast is basically, I wanted it. It's called KingshiD Talk, It's basically conversations that a lot of people have, but not politically correct. I wanted my show to be strictly from the heart, whether it was agreed upon or not. I wanted people to live in their truth and, have a safe place to talk about a lot of different things, educate people because there are a lot of things that I know. There are some things that I don't know. So I think just regular conversations with people tend to help with understanding not only yourself but other people. So that's basically what my show is. Just overall talking about a bunch of different things. And most of the time, I let people contact me and tell me what they want to hear or talk about because the
Hmm.
majority of the topics I have, the actual person that gave me the topic doesn't want to come on and talk about it. They just want to hear other people talk about it. So
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I did listen to a few of the episodes. I do like the content. I like how you are raw and transparent about your journey and the things you've experienced personally. So I commend you. That definitely seems like an outlet for you, which
oh
a lot of men don't have.
that's right. That's
So
right. And
keep
that was
doing your
another
king
reason.
shit.
Yeah, that's another reason that I wanted to do it too, because you're right. A lot of times men don't. Well, let me change that. I don't think it's that they don't have the outlets. It's a lot
Mhm.
of men don't utilize the outlets
Hmm.
that
That
are
is
there
true.
for various reasons. But that was another thing. Sometimes in order to lead, we have to be visual. We have to show that okay, it's okay to talk about certain things. It's okay to open up about certain things. And then, other men tend to say, okay, I can exhale now. This brother's doing it. Now maybe I can do it. And maybe I can talk about certain things. So
Right.
it's
So
been it's been fun.
y'all have waiting to exhale moments too?
Oh, we have 'em. We now a lot of times they don't get as drastic as some of y'all's moments, but we have them. I don't know too many of us that are throwing clothes in cars and blowing them up and stuff like that, but we
None of
have
those
those.
count on me through thick and thin.
There's
Y'all
some.
holding each other's hands and just going like,
We cry a little bit over a cigar
oh,
and things
okay.
like that,
Those
but
thug tears.
we share them.
Okay. Well, thank you for what you do and keep doing it.
Oh, thank you so much. I truly appreciate that.
So as far as relationship for me, I have been married for almost 18 years in September,
Goodness.
and it has its ups and downs, ebbs and flows. Um, I proposed to my husband because I'm that aggressor. I'm like, I know what I want. I'm gonna claim this. You make the decision, you say yes or no, but I'm marking my territory. That's
Mm.
how it started. And you know, okay. But Jessica Rabbit,
Yes,
how long have you been married again?
going on 18 years in May. So we're
Okay.
17 now, going to be 18 in May. And then he proposed to me, but it wasn't in the, oh, got on one knee and here's your, no, he was drunk in the bed. Because I told him not, you know me, I have my visions, my, intuitions. I said, you better not go to that party tonight. You're gonna get hurt. And he was like, nah, I'm good. He's like, you just want me to stay home. I'm like, no, you can go anywhere else. Just don't go to that party. What happened? The chain I just bought him, the Jesus piece I just bought him, got snatched, got in a fight. Somebody took a bottle and hit him over the head. They were shooting, the cops standing watching the people shoot. And
Oh
he
wow.
comes home bloody. Oh my God, you were right. I said, I told you. Will you marry me? That is how he proposed. And then the next day I was like, oh my God, he asked me to marry him. And then he has this dumb look on his, I hate that look. He gets like this blank stare, and my kids have it too. And he was like, what? But we ended up getting married. So, hey, that's how it worked out with us.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I got to stop for 1 second because we are new to this video part of the podcast. Do y'all see my face keep freezing on me?
Yes,
I see
yes.
it, but you seem to be getting it back in line
It's
pretty
like,
good.
So I apologize in advance for everybody watching this, but it seems like I'm trying to take some pictures or something. Like I'm in a photo booth. Like, what is going on? But does my voice continue when it freezes like that?
Yes. Your voice, we can still hear you.
Yeah, sounds good.
This shit is crazy. I don't know what's going on, but it ain't gonna stop the show. And it is raining outside. See, look, it did it again. It's raining outside, so I don't know what's going on with the internet.
Yes,
but
the Wi-Fi's
I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna keep it going because it's not gonna mess up the party. So Jessica Rabbit has some great questions today to start us off with when it comes to relationships, just to hear your perspective, or we'll discuss our own perspectives on these questions. But you in the hot seat today, brother.
Uh-oh. And the seat is red already.
Yes, you're in the hot seat. So we want to dig. We want answers. So what you got for us, Jessica Rabbit?
Okay, so I wrote down, I would like to know from a male's point of view, what they think about their girls, like your girl's girlfriend. So like your girlfriend, her friends, and the input they give on a relationship. Because you know how that they had the little, I want to say pillow talk, but you know, we on the phone chatting up the girls and like, he did this and he did that and that. And now they're giving all that toxic advice. And now she coming at you. But how do you deal with that?
With my current, I haven't had to deal with that. I mean, I've met a couple of the friends, but it's pretty much they're pretty solid. And if they aren't solid, we just discuss, things because she knows my personality. And my personality is pretty much, if it's us, we know what we have to do and what we have to deal with that works for us. And anything outside of that, we may listen, but we don't allow it to invade what we have going on, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. That makes
what
sense.
about the family, though? What if the family gets involved?
I've been in relationships before where that was a real issue. With this one, not so much, but I will say on the one that was an issue, it wasn't just one family member, and I think that's what made it even worse because there was like the mom and the sisters and the older son and the cousins and stuff like that. So it ultimately became too much because I'm the type of person to where I'm very respectful of other people, sometimes too much so. And but when I blow, I blow. And so there were times where I would talk to her about it and be like, hey, I don't appreciate this. And could you just stop running to over every little thing? And you're telling too much of what goes on in house because they might, most of the time when that happens, the people on the outside only see what you tell them. They don't know everything that's mixed up in that gumbo. They don't know what you may have said to spark it off. They don't know what kind of day you guys were having. They don't know what happened after the fact. All they know is you told them A, B, or C. So it got to a point where, she was like, well, they're my family at the end of the day. And what that told me was, okay, I don't matter. What I'm feeling doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're telling me that whatever is going on with them is going to supersede what's going on with me and us. And so it just, it didn't work.
I don't like that. Nope. I had a situation. Oh, now I hear echo. See, look, they trying to throw us all types of stuff.
I don't hear it though.
You don't hear the echo? Okay, because I heard myself talking back to me. Okay, but they must have known I was going to say something. But no, when my husband and I first started out, it was something that his sisters didn't like that he did, and they blamed it on me. Or like he wasn't doing something they wanted him to do. So they thought it was my fault. And like she's saying something, blah, blah, blah. So his mom came at me like, you ain't nobody and blood is thicker than water and da 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 da. And he could hear her beside me on the phone talking to me. And I'm looking like, who's she talking to? He was like, are you done? And he hung up the phone. He did not speak to her for almost a year after that.
Ooh.
I felt bad because even though they were coming at me like it was my fault, I felt bad because I'm like, I'm in the middle, and I feel like, if it wasn't for me, you would still be communicating with your family and it wouldn't be this wedge. And he's like, you're my family. So, I mean, that made me feel special. But on the other end, I'm just like, but that's your mom. That's your sister. Like, no, you guys were tight before. Like, we got to make this work. So I do appreciate it, the protection and the support on one hand, but then that being in the middle, I would never want him to choose between us. Like, can we just talk about it? Can we just work through this? But that's what he felt he needed to do at that time. I was like, I can't change him. I can't change his mind.
I applaud that stance he took, though.
Well, he did. I mean, my sister-in-law did that. She's still doing that, drawing wedges with my brother-in-law. You can't say nothing, can't say this, can't say that. And she gets an attitude. She's at my mother-in-law's house, get mad because somebody made a comment that wasn't even towards her. How can they allow him to say that? And they call themselves Christians. And I'm just like, girl, if you don't have a hard shell, you can't be in this family. We crack jokes. We say things, we don't mean it. I mean, we shoot the dozens all the time, so that's just something you can't be sensitive about. And you can't draw your husband away from his family now because you don't want to take it and be, being oversensitive. But I just sit back and laugh because I'm like, when it was only me, everything was and all the knives were at me. Now there's other ladies in the family. I'm like, hi, I get it now. I just sit back and smile.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's your turn, not mine.
So what about in relationships when dealing with religion? That's, that unequally yoked, and depending on how you grow up, what you believe in, would that be a deal breaker in a relationship?
I think it can be, and this is why. My personal experience, I think that first off, I think that only works. I think it can work if it's unequally yoked, if you know your partner, if your partner truly knows and understands you. But when you don't, and you have to know yourself, because when you don't know yourself, that's when all those little issues like that happen. Because in a previous marriage, I didn't truly know myself, and I was a street dude. And so the woman I was with went to church all the time. And so she would constantly ask me, just come to church. My mom, she already doesn't, she already feels some type of way because we're shacking up. And so just come to church, show your face. And it took her literally a year to get me to go. I was like, nah, that's not me. I ain't faking for nobody. You know what I mean? And I grew up in the church. But even as a child, I told myself, I said, once I get old enough to be able to say no, and I'm not going, because I wasn't getting anything out of it as a child. It was more like a chore. And so anyway, I went to church, and I swear the first Sunday I went, because you can't tell now, but I had long braids and everything, eyebrow piercing and all this stuff. And it's like the pastor's sermon was on guys that have long hair and are in the street and have ear piercings and things like that. I'm like, come on now, are you deliberately calling me out, or has she been telling you some stuff and you trying to change this? So it was very, very awkward. But going that first time caused me to go like a couple of weeks later, and then it became a regular thing. And the next thing I knew, I cut all my braids off, took all my earrings and stuff out, and the eyebrow ring, and started going to church. And this sounds good, but it wasn't because I wanted to do it. It was, I was trying to be this person that her mom wanted me to be and the church folk wanted me to be. And that led to my proposing to her. It wasn't out of love. It was, okay, now that I've made all these changes, that's another change that I have to make because we're shacking up and I'm going to church. And so that marriage didn't last, but we divorced mutually because we talked about it. We were like, come on now, we didn't get married because we actually wanted to grow old together. We got married because of what we thought everyone else would expect us to do. So I say all of that to say religion plays a big part, but if you know who you really are inside spiritually, and if you know your partner, then those kind of things can be worked out, because just because one person believes in something and does something, they should, I ain't gonna say should, they may love you enough and know you enough to say, okay, this is a part of my life that my partner may not totally agree with, but we are bigger than this part of my life,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't have to be the end all to everything.
I agree with that. I'm like that with my husband. So, we are both Christians, but the backgrounds are different. And we know we laid out who we believe in, this and that, and say, okay, we have a same foundation, just the way we worship is different. So we looked at it like that. So, his mother makes comments and my father makes comments, but I said, this works for us. Oh, your kids are going to be confused. I said, they're not going to be confused because we know who we serve and all this stuff. So it's not going to be just because it doesn't look good for you or what you would want, doesn't mean it's not going to work for us. And as adults, parents, parents of adult children, you can give your comment, but that's not going to change nothing.
Exactly. And see, with myself, I grew up in a Christian background. My husband's mom, she goes to church sometimes, and but he's just like, no. Like, we started off saying grace with the kids when they were little at the table. Now it's just like, nope, you want to say it in your head. It's like, I'm not forcing anything on anybody. If it becomes an obligation, it's not coming from the heart.
Yes.
I consider myself spiritual. My husband will look at my crystals and be like, why is this rock on my table? So it's just like, I let him be him, do him. I know deep down he believes in something greater. He may not say God, he may not say the universe like I do, but I know he believes in something greater. So it's like, I know his heart. So I don't push any specific agenda or religious beliefs or anything on him. Yeah, I just say to each his own. As long as you're not out here and then you sacrificing sheep on my lawn and like, you ain't doing nothing crazy like that, then I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm good.
Oh,
And
girl.
something I learned too, let me say this. I learned this about 15 years ago, that if you look at it, most men get into religion or the church and stuff like that because of a woman. It's normally women that get men into the church or get them into, whatever religion it is. It normally starts with the woman. So for the most part, I think men, I'm not going to say once they're there, they don't get touched or be there for the right reasons. But a lot of times the men get through the door just to please the woman.
And it could be the mama. It's not just the woman they're in a relationship with. It could have been the
Mhm.
mama took them to church.
That's right.
That's how they got in there.
And that's normally what it is. It's normally the mother takes the children to whatever background, denomination she's doing, and that's how the children learn. Because that was the other argument I had with my mother-in-law. Well, you're going to take them to a Pentecostal church because you're a Pentecostal, and and you're not going to let my kids come in. And I said, I never said I wouldn't, but that's where I grew up. That's where I felt at home. That's how I feel comfortable in the holiness church. And she may not, understand. And then she started asking me questions and I was spitting back to her and I knew, and she goes, oh, I said, yes, I know. So then she started being quiet and she's like, well, I didn't know you knew that much. I'm said, Well, you never asked.
Mm.
But I mean, I see that happening. But as long as y'all make it work, I think that's what. Hey, that's your marriage. That's your relationship. It has to work for y'all because nobody else. You ain't married to his mama or her mama.
Mhm.
You married to each other. You're in that relationship or commitment with each other. So it's time to move out the way.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Did you have any other questions?
Yes, I did. Okay, so how do you feel about if your woman or your girlfriend, she wants to be a housewife or a house girlfriend? Like some girlfriends feel like, oh, I'm going to be a house girlfriend. I don't want to work, but she's there to help take care of the house, help manage the house, but doesn't want to work. And like, how do you feel about that? What is your views on that?
Um, the infamous traditional versus modern
Mm-hmm.
type of situation. Well, I'm a traditional guy with a little bit of modern actions, if that makes sense, because I grew up in a two-parent home. I saw my dad work, my mom for the majority of my childhood was traditional. She was stay at home wife. She took care of the house, cooking, cleaning, dealing with us, homework, stuff like that. It wasn't until I was about 12-ish, 13, when she started working part time, and then that kind of flowed into full time. But I wouldn't have an issue with it if the reasons behind it were traditional as well. And what I mean is, if if her upbringing or her passions are to make a house a home, to make sure that I'm taken care of with um, when I get there or whatever the case may be, if there are kids, wanting to really be there for their upbringing and stuff like that, I'm all for it. If it's I'm lazy, or I just want somebody to take care of me, that's just what it is, then for the most part I probably wouldn't be connected to her anyway. But yeah, I'm not for that. As far as I think there are a lot of ways that people can contribute and uh hold their own and things like that that aren't financial. It doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
have to boil down to, okay, we're splitting this bill and splitting that bill. I think, hey, if we're growing together and I'm making A, B, and C, or if it's in me to just make sure that's a load that you don't have to worry about, because bills, unfortunately, are very stressful sometimes. Having to worry about, okay, well, in 20 to 30 days, I'm gonna have to come up with XYZ because I got to pay this, this, and this. Well, if I can alleviate that stress, if I can do something, and sometimes nowadays, if the woman can do that, because there are some situations where it's kind of flipped, and a lot of you guys are making a lot more than the guys that you're with. So it's not just a man woman thing, but for the sake of the question, I wouldn't have a issue with it at all, depending on the reasons why she would want to be a stay at home.
Well, no, that's good. Even I say it too. I was talking to Rika the other day. I was like, there's some men out there that are really great at being house dads or house husbands, and they take care of the home and they're more nurturing than the wife. And she has a better career, and he's able to stay home at home. So I don't even think there's anything wrong with that either. If he wants to be at home with the kids and take care of it, and some are great at it, and some others like I can't be. Was it a 24-hour mother? I'm only good for 3 to 6 hours the most. And besides that, I have to have somebody else. So I've seen that type of situation, and it goes hand in hand. And then we have some women that have the 2 and 3 nannies.
Yeah.
And see, with me, I can't wait till I become famous so my husband can be at home and not have to work. I want him to be able to feel what it's like to not be taken care of, because he's never going to just let me take care of him. But for him to receive that downtime and that extra leisure, or just having the opportunity to try it out, to experience it, because he was in the military straight from high school. And then after the military, we got married and he went straight to working. He's been at his job since we've been married. So I got to try out being a stay-at-home mom. And I felt like the walls were closing in on me. So I was like, I got to get out of here. I can't do this. I'm used to working since I was like 14, 15 years old. So that's what I was used to. But I tried it out because daycare was hella expensive. And I didn't really have the help because we didn't live as close to the family as we were at first. So I was like, I tried it. Not for me. Can't do this. And it's a lot of work to be a stay-at-home mom, because that's the constant, you don't have no time off.
Mm-mm.
So it's
No,
like
no,
the
no.
time off is when you sleep, and if you get to sleep.
Or when I
Yeah.
go to school.
Yeah.
Because I'm a stay-at-home mom.
But then you
So
still working.
I
Yeah.
am. And then now when I met you, you had me doing other things. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, but I am constantly. So when they go to school, it was like, okay, you get maybe 6 to 8 hours of time to kind of make all my doctor's appointments, get everything that I need to get done within this time frame, and then still get home. And then I had to learn it's okay if the dinner's not ready right at 5 o'clock. It's okay if, the kids are getting thrown in the bed, late at 8:30, something, because you had to learn to be on your own schedule and not what these people want you to be, or, that. So it was like it's a given between the two. I mean, it's not all sunshine and flowers and roses to stay
Yeah.
home.
My grandmother was a stay-at-home wife for years, and she still did her thing on the side. But when she got old enough, now my grandfather's passed and she has a boyfriend at 85, she does not do anything. She will not lift a finger. I'm like, Grandma, you're not helping him cook. Shut up. Mind your business. She will not. She was like, I've been cooking my whole life. I've been cleaning my whole life. I'm not doing nothing. I'm like, man, you got this man that can barely walk over here cooking you breakfast, going to the bank for you, carrying your purse in the grocery store.
I did that
So-
during lockdown. He said I went on a 3-year vacation
Oh, no. Because he was home.
because he said, oh, I'm home. I never get to be home. I can do all this stuff now. And I said, sucker. And I went and hid.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel your grandma. I feel her.
She earned.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I feel her.
So when it comes to relationships and gender roles, do you believe strongly about gender roles? Like, it's the man's job to do this, 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 and then the woman can do this, this, this? Or do you believe in like, all right, we can swap sometimes. It's not just on me or it's not just on you.
I think it depends on the people. I'm not strong on it. The only one that I am a stickler for is protection. I think it is the man's duty, obligation to protect, his woman, his home, his children, those that can't protect themselves. I'm really big on that. The other stuff, I think it can be uh, tweaked to what works for the particular couple, because we don't live in traditional times, so it's more difficult to stick to those traditional things, because I mean, eggs are freaking $50 a egg. So I mean, it would be hard to think that everything is going to stay the way it was. Now, there are a lot of great jobs out here. There are more entrepreneurs now, but anyone that's an entrepreneur like myself knows that you don't become an entrepreneur today and you're rich tomorrow. There are a lot of ups and downs with that. You have great weeks, you have horrible months. You might have a great day and a horrible quarter, So it changes. So things have to be kind of day by day sometimes. Today I may be all of those things, and tomorrow you may pick up some of those areas. But that protection area is an area I do not, will not waver on. I will never look for the woman to protect me. Not to say that it won't ever be a time where that, protection is not needed, because protection comes in a lot of forms. It reminds me of the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. Uh, Jada saying, "What you doing? Sit your ass down." Is protection as well. You know what I mean? But so, yeah, that part of it, gender roles, hey, whatever role works for you, that's what should be done. But the protection part of it, I think is I don't think we can afford to slip up in that area, because you guys are so very important to everything, not just one thing, to everything. I mean, people say, I mean, you guys were talking about kids earlier, and I have a lot of them, but like we heard all the time growing up that the children are the future, and to truly understand what that means, and to not protect mothers and women, those that are rearing these children up, is crazy to me. We fall short sometimes, and I don't want to start preaching, but we fall short sometimes on taking care of our backbone. And I'll say that. So I don't waver with that protection thing. I'm real strong on that. And I teach my sons the same thing.
That's good. That's good. My husband talks about that too. His father always told him to watch your sisters. Be careful, watch out. So he started watching his sisters, and he does that with us and the girls, and making sure he protects. And my son has autism, but he still tells him, protect your sister, watch out for your sister. He knows, and my son would jump up. He sees somebody messing with his sisters, he'll jump up. No, no, no. He, as much as he can, what he can say, what he can do, he's going to try to protect. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of them think, oh, you're strong, you're independent, you can do this, you can that. You don't need no man to protect you. But no, we still do need men to protect us in certain situations. It doesn't make you less of a woman, less independent, because you need a man. It's just how it is. We are strong, but sometimes we're not as strong as men, and we need y'all to step in. And I wish I see, I think after the feminist movement, when they started burning the bras and they wanted to go out into the workforce, and then now they're like, no, I want to come back, I want to come back, I want to come back. But y'all telling all these guys y'all don't need them no more. So, don't act like a damsel in distress now.
Yeah. And a lot of that, if I can say this, and for the guys that are going to be watching you guys show, don't, please, fellas, don't think that I'm bashing us, because I'm not. But there's nothing a woman could tell me as far as I don't need a man, blah, 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 that's going to make me sit back and say, okay, then do it yourself. Okay, well, you need my protection right now. No, I remember when you said you didn't need a man. So I think a lot of times guys fall on that, and I see it. That's why I'm speaking. I see it a lot here lately, with men use that. Oh, well, she said she was independent, or she said she ain't need a man. Well, handle it then. Most guys that use that are guys that weren't gonna protect you in the first place. Because men that were raised like your husband, and like he's raising your sons, and like me and my sons and your husband, Rika, those type guys, it doesn't matter what the climate says. It doesn't matter what the woman says. It's in you to do certain things.
Right. And I didn't even know what protection I would need, because you never know what may come up. But being married and with my husband, I notice things that he does that I'm like, oh, that's a thing. Like, even making sure I don't walk on the side of the sidewalk by the curb. And I'm like, why are you making me move? He was like, you're not, just move over. You're not supposed to walk on the sidewalk. I'm like, but what does that do? He's like, well, what if a truck jumps the curb and da 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 and hits you? I'm like, but you're gonna get hit. So I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, okay. So now he teaches my son that. We were in the 7-Eleven one night, just going to get a big bite or something. And these guys get into a discussion and the guy says, keep that same energy when I come back. So I was like, oh shit, what's about to happen? We see his feet walking back to the store. My husband's like, go in the aisle. And he stands in front of me. So I was just like, oh God. The guy has a gun in his hand right there. He's just like, what were you saying? And he's apologizing to us at the same time. My husband's like, you good, Slim, you good. Just go ahead, do what you want. Just you get your stuff. He was trying to prove a point to the man, but my husband's like, go in the aisle. So I'm like, but you're in the line of fire. What about you? You come back here with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we were safe, we were good, but I never experienced anything like that before. So when it comes to protection, yeah, I get it. It's just, I guess it's an instinct. Well, some people have it because I don't think everybody have it.
Yeah. No.
But I commend y'all for wanting to take the blows and the hits.
Hey, and let me say this. I'm not gonna front like we're Black Adam and Thor and all this other stuff, because sometimes we don't want to. But but it's just who we are, because I've been in situations similar to that, and I was scared. Like, oh, if it really goes down, but it's sometimes it's hard to explain because there's some things that just kind of take over. And what I mean is there was a situation, and I don't want to get if I get ever get long winded, y'all just tell me to shut up or mute me or something. But there was I don't do clubs, right? To this day, I'm not a club hopper because I have high anxiety. I get very paranoid with certain things, and so I feel like I can't have fun because I'm watching everybody. But the same woman that got me to go to church that I was talking about, she begged and begged, come to the club. She was going to the club every Friday with her girlfriend. I was like, yo, I don't do clubs. I'm explaining why I don't do clubs. But she kept on, why don't you just come out? Oh, you don't want to have no fun. So I gave in. Okay, we're gonna go to the club. We go to the club. We're dancing, and she says she has to go to the restroom. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll be standing, right over there when you come out. So she's walking off, and I see this guy grab her ass when she walks by, right? So she turns around and kind of slaps his hand and immediately goes to continue to the bathroom. So he pushes her. And so I'm on him. I'm on him then. So things happen. And so when I was walking off, it was kind of like a spidey sense, like when you can feel somebody looking at you. And so I turn around and it's like 8 guys standing there. And apparently he was with people. I was with my girl at the time and her girlfriend. So these dudes are like, we got a problem, blah, 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 blah. And so my girl was a little tipsy. She's standing behind me talking about kick his ass, baby, kick his ass. And I'm trying. Now, this is the position that a lot of men get in. Now, I'm looking at this situation like, okay, I know for a bona fide fact for the most part, if all 8 of these guys jump on me, I'm losing this fight. But at the same time, I have to protect my woman and make sure my woman doesn't get hit or anything like that. So that internal fear is there, but there's also something in me that won't allow me to not make sure she's okay. So I have some words with them or whatever while I'm still trying to tell her, baby, please shut up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to diffuse the situation. Be quiet. And so he threatened to go out to the car and get a gun and stuff like that. So I mean, it could have gotten real bad. But I'm a fast forward. On the way home, I was telling her, look, for one, this is why I don't come out. Two, do you even realize what just happened? I could have been killed, gone. They could have did both of us in. So while we're protecting women, it goes back to what I said earlier in the show with you have to know who you're with, because we're going to protect, but at the same time, a lot of times we also need our women to know that, okay, I can either make the situation better or I can make it worse, because that's part of protecting us as well.
That's true.
So would you have, well, one, did she ask you if you were scared or how you felt about the situation? Once she calmed down, once the liquor died down and she sobered up and everything, did she ask you how you felt in that moment? Or did you
Never.
automatically communicate that I was scared as fuck?
No, oh, I communicated it because
Oh,
she didn't, and I didn't communicate it immediately. I communicated it once. I think it was a couple of days later, and I overheard her talking on the phone with one of her friends. She was like, "Yeah, we went out to the club, and my man was gonna do da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay, she's not getting it. Your man was gonna get stomped out. That's what was gonna happen." Because at the time, I'm 46 now. This is about 20 years ago. So I was not the size that I am now, nothing. And so I was like, yo, do you realize I didn't want to be in that position? I talked to her and I told her, look, I'm always going to defend your honor. I'm always going to make sure nobody violates you. But I didn't want to be in that position. I said, you do realize it was 8 of them, right? Because when I saw in my eyes quickly, I counted exactly how many there were. I started looking for exits and stuff like that. So I was like, that's not a situation that I wanted to be in. Don't go around putting it like, I'm the Incredible Hulk or something like that. And this was this bit. No, I said I was gonna lose that. Because I'm not one of those guys that act like I can beat everybody. I'm not one of those guys that act like I can win every game or situation. People take losses, and there are some losses I do not want to take. I'm just willing to take if the person that I'm with or my children are in danger or something like
yeah. Well, I'm glad you communicated your feelings on that, because I think with me, with different situations, I asked my husband, like, were you nervous when you did that? Like, even having to talk with my son, like, I'm like, how you gonna do it? What you gonna do? Are you nervous? He'd be like, hell yeah, I ain't never did that shit before.
Yes, we do get nervous. And that reminds me of a conversation I had with my son before. 'Cause my son is, well, my youngest son is 10, but he he's 10, but he's like he's 14 or 15. Because you guys may know it's a medical condition. We actually have to take him back to the doctor at the end of this month. But he's developed a lot beyond his age. I mean, he has the mustache, he has the hair in places, his voice is like mine. He's 5'8" already. And so I had to have a conversation with him, the sex talk, when he was 8, because he had started looking at porn and stuff like that. And so his mom asked me, she was like, "Are you scared to talk?" I'm like, "I'm not scared, but I'm a little nervous, because my dad never had that talk with me." And so I'm like talking to an 8-year-old about women parts and man parts and feelings and hormones, and son, you're gonna feel this kind of way. It's not wrong, but you don't need to act on it when it comes to. So it was crazy. So yeah, we get very nervous. I get downright scared at some stuff.
I like my husband because my son came to me the other day, came out the bathtub, and he was like, "Why is it big?" I'm like, "Huh?" And then he's holding his balls, and I'm like, "Oh my God." Okay. I said, "Well," I'm yelling my husband's name, "Come here." Like, you're getting older and things are growing and this happens. I'm like, and if you start getting like a typical kid, you're gonna want to use it. And no, girl, I don't want no little balls. So it has to grow. And so I'm trying to, and the look on his face was like, "But why is stuff changing?" I was like, "I know." I said, "It's your whole body changing and you don't understand why you got hair and you're starting to stink and things is getting bigger and things is getting hard now." And you're just like, what? He was watching, was it 300 in the part when the lady's boobs, and he was, "I gotta go take a bath." I'm like, okay, just keep your door closed from now on, okay? And it's hard with that barrier where, sometimes he's age appropriate and sometimes he's not. So sometimes he's 13, sometimes he's 8, not to like, you know, it's really, really hard to deal with that at times. I'm like, girls are so much easier, but I see the look on his face, and then my husband's like, "Well, what am I supposed to talk about?" I said, "Well, you need to tell him about his body changing and things that's happening and feelings that he's getting, because obviously it's happening and he doesn't know why. And he's coming to me because mommy fixes everything, and this part I can't help him with." I said, I don't know. Tell him.
So, Sally, when it comes to relationships, you've been married, divorced, and now in another relationship. And I heard it's hard out here in the streets. So I haven't been there in a long time in the dating world and stuff like that. Is there any advice you would give someone? It could be a male or female that has been married and separated or divorced and then starting over again. Some people lost hope, or they don't want to start from scratch. You have any advice that you could give someone?
Um, I'll say first off, it's easy to lose hope when you're watching everybody else. The best way to not lose hope is to focus on you, focus on yourself. And when it comes to marriage or, just your everyday boyfriend, girlfriend type thing, I think even though loneliness is not comfortable, it is best to truly know who you are before you attach to somebody else. Because I was a serial dater back in the day. I mean, I would um, get out of one relationship and hop right into another one because I did not like being by myself. Um, and that caused me to have a string of short relationships, bad relationships, toxic relationships. And my cousin told me one day, I think it was in 2009, 2010, she told me, she said, "Cuzzo, you need to take some time off." She said, "You don't need to date anybody. You need to get to love you, know who you are as a person, and these relationships will start getting better." So I'll say, I mean, we hear people say all the time the dating pool has piss in it. Well, that's true to a form, but it's because of the people that's standing there doing it. It's not the pool that's messed up. It's the people that are messed up. So I believe that there are just as many sincere and great people out here wanting relationships as they are people that are tarnishing them. But I think the main thing is that people aren't taking the time to really know who they are or the people they're connecting with. And I'm not a fan of I've had so many women tell me this date them all thing is what should be done. They're like, "Oh, you date a lot of guys or you date a lot of women, and the one that uh presses forward the most, that's the one you choose." I'm like, how can you possibly though find that person if you're stretching yourself so thin and
Exactly.
giving everybody a percentage of you and this and that? So I think if people take, and this is really going to be hard, take sex out of it and just really date. Like, it's okay to go to a museum or to the movies or to eat or to conversate with somebody over a picnic. Really get to know the person and not always take what they're saying as the total painting, because what they tell you is just a couple of the colors. But you got to find out that canvas. You got to find out what brushes they're using, everything, because most people are going to tell you what you want to hear. And I tell my daughters this. I like, when y'all get these little snot nosed dudes that be telling you A, B, or C, they telling you beautiful. And yeah, that's true, but you already know that. What Every single thing that comes out of a person's mouth shouldn't be absolute positive stuff, because this world isn't perfect. There are no perfect humans. So that's a first thing you ought to know. If a guy is only telling you all great things about himself, watch him.
Mm.
You got to watch them because they're not being totally transparent. There is no perfect guy. Your father isn't perfect.
Mhm.
So there aren't any perfect little dudes running around here. They tell you what's soothing to your ear because they know when it goes in here, it's going to make its way in here. It's going to make its way to your heart. And if they get your heart tenderized, then it's a wrap. And so that's what I say to people, men and women alike. Take the time to get to know who you're actually dealing with. And that's not to say that once you actually get with them that other things won't come up, but it'll lessen it. It'll lessen it a little bit. That way certain things happen, you'll already know the person you're with, so you know what's fact and what's fiction. It just makes it easier. And I had to learn that through falling a lot and bumping my head, so I'm not saying it because it sounds good. I'm saying it because I know that it works. I know that it's factual.
I like that. My father used to say that too. There's hookers and whores out there more prettier than you. So don't think you the prettiest thing on the block. He said, because you cannot. There's always going to be somebody out there that looks better than you. So always you tell your daughters that so that they know that you're beautiful at home, and you don't have to, just because some little boy done told you you're pretty. Now then they got pull down your panties and do all this for them. No. Daddy done told me I'm pretty. Daddy gave me this. He said, I want my girls to know that I can get them the jewelry that they have, that you don't need a little boy give you jewelry. Even get your nails done, you don't need him to do that because your dad can do that for me. What can you do that he can't do? Because my dad does this, my dad does that. So I really don't need you, which I do, appreciate. Because even some of these girls, I mean, we know the lines of boys used to say back in the day to us and have
Mhm.
us sitting there, ooh, but he didn't do this and he can do.
What's that TikTok song? That boy be in my DM say I'm pretty.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and you know what's
Don't
crazy
you
though?
already know?
It's crazy that they haven't no new lines have been created. I mean, it's still the same stuff. That
Recycle.
I got cheated on once. And why am I continuous to talk about this one? Because the same woman that went to the club and doggone went to the church. But
Heal, brother. Heal, brother.
this is therapy for me. but but yeah, she did it though. And when I asked her why, that was the first thing she said. She was like, well, I was at the store and he told me I was pretty. I was like, that was it?
Oh, my husband says, "Oh, it's that easy?" Because what was it? One of the DJs from Love and Hip Hop. We met him on a cruise, and he was like, "Oh, you're so pretty." I said, "Oh my God!" He said, "He said you're that easy. You're that easy. He want to take a picture with you and then call you pretty. You're that easy, huh?" And I'm like, sometimes I told myself, sometimes we think you're telling us we're pretty because you have to tell us, not because you really think this. Oh, baby, you ain't big. You don't need to lose no weight because that's what you're supposed to say. This, you ain't supposed to say
Brown nosing.
I never thought about that. I never looked at it that way. I'm glad you said, yeah, I never thought about that. That sometimes it doesn't hit as hard because you feel like we're obligated to say these things.
that.
Hmm.
Because what if y'all came out and was like, you getting a little thick around the waist, or the little dimples ain't that cute. Like, y'all not gonna tell us that.
You right for the most part. You
No, my husband go, "Don't eat that Snicker bar." Now I like the way you look, but I don't want to hear you crying later on.
He'll
And then he
flip it
run
back
into
on
me.
you. Flip the script. I
Yeah.
just don't want to hear your mouth. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
picture my husband saying some stuff like that.
But
we have
when
to
he's
do what's safe.
yes, and then even my husband said, I know I want to be with you because we actually went out and we ain't have to do nothing. We just chilled and talked. And he was like, yo, I can really just sit down and talk to this girl. Like we ain't even gotta have sex. I was like, so that's how you knew? Yeah, it was just more than just having sex. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because we love that because we don't get that often, and it goes to what you guys were saying about having those outlets because it's something special when we can sit down with a woman and just talk and just be transparent and not feel like we're going to be judged, not feel like one day it's going to be hung over our heads, what we shared. But that's refreshing. It's like breathing new air to be able to just sit and be who you are.
Yeah. Because when I met my husband, I was 6 months pregnant with somebody else's baby. So I knew it wasn't about sex. I knew it wasn't about my waist. I knew it wasn't about sex. I was like, oh, he's a really good person. He's helping me. He's doing this. Oh, he's a keeper. Now you see why I proposed, right?
Yes. Yes. I would
I
have
wasn't letting that
proposed.
nigga go for nothing.
No. Because it's hard to find, it's hard to find guys like that. that don't care if you have kids, or it's y'all are a rare breed. The good ones are a rare breed, and you got to keep them.
Mhm.
It's not for the faint at heart. I tell you, because it's funny, Rika, that you said that, because I won't say who this woman is. You can probably guess though. But when her and
The
I
one from
got
the
well, we
past.
actually started as high school sweethearts, but we kind of lost touch for some years. But when we got back together, she was 7 months pregnant.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, he's my son to this day, no questions asked. But she had a 2-year-old daughter, and she was 7 months pregnant with him, and I raised the both of them. So it goes back to what I was saying about sometimes things are uncomfortable that certain men have to do, but if it's in you, if it's just who you are, that uncomfortable essence doesn't drive what you do. It doesn't drive your actions.
Right. So you mentioned it, but when it comes to sex,
hmm I'm
in relation,
similar to the thriller in the
right,
middle.
right, you caught it. Okay, so in relationships, how frequently, thinking from a man's perspective, don't sugarcoat it for us. How frequently do you feel is a good amount of times to have sex, like throughout the week, throughout the month, whatever?
And is it on you or her?
Oh, it's funny that you should ask that question.
We so funny.
Uh, yeah, I'll say, um, where I am now, in the place that I am now, um, I think about it all the time, but I don't want to physically do it all the time. And there's a reason for that. And I had this conversation with her. We talked about this before we actually decided to be in a relationship. But I didn't want it to be built upon sex. I'm dating with a purpose, so even though sex is great, I didn't want it to become a thing where we were having sex all the time. And I've been in situations where we had sex so much to where there was no time for anything else. There was, we were working and fucking. There, I mean, there was no really getting to know the person. There was no real communication. There was no taking trips and just enjoying the world, because everything was evolved around our carnal, desires. And so I think that a healthy relationship does have sex is important, because it's another way to communicate, but I don't think it should be so out there to where that's all you're doing, because I- I'm not to the point yet, thankfully, where I can't perform. But I also know that I don't naturally work out every day. Sex is freaking workout.
It
It's
is.
doggone it's a lot. It
I
takes
don't
a
know how
lot out
you
of
do it.
me. So I can't fathom having sex every single day, and sometimes multiple times a day. Like I said, I think about it. My brain is stronger than my body. I think about it all the time, but I don't want to be putting in that kind of work every doggone day. Sometimes I want to relax and just watch TV, smoke a cigar, smoke a blunt, drink something. You know, I I don't want to do it all the time. That's just me.
So give me a number.
Per week, I personally would be good. I mean, a-okay with the sounds word. I hear it in my head and it doesn't sound good, but I would be happy in a great relationship with maybe twice a week.
I knew it. I was thinking that. I say he was gonna say so. I
Yeah,
knew it. I
maybe
knew he
I
was
could,
gonna
I could be okay.
say.
Now, 3 times would be that's cool, but once, I'm not gonna be mad at, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think I could be straight with two, but it's also because I have so much going on. There are so many other things that I'm responsible for that I have to do and things like that. So I think one or two. I don't want to limit myself to one just in case. But one or two good, strong, connected releases a week, I think is good.
So 1 to 2 a month would be bad for you.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm just asking.
I said a week.
I'm just asking because you never
What
know what
one or
she's
two of
going
a
through.
month?
You never know what she's
Well,
going through, or her
yeah,
body and how it responds and stress and all of that.
this is true, and that's communication is so important. But now, if it's something like that, yeah, I'm good. I can be okay with twice a month.
Mhm.
But let's say everything is hitting on all cylinders, everything is good, then yeah. Oh, well, darn, now that I say it though, 2 times a week, that's 8 times a month. That could sound a bit, hey, if everything is great, then a perfect world scenario once or twice a week. So minimum 4 times a month, average 8 times a month. Yeah, I'm good.
I
Now
guess I
I
gotta
will
get on
say
my
this too.
shit.
Anytime that monthly comes around, I've never been one of those guys to where, the menstrual is here and I'm kicking the walls, not knowing what I'm gonna do. Oh my gosh. I can
Eh,
I can go the
Oh, you run them red
4 to
lights, huh?
7
Be like,
days.
Martin, I got titles.
Hey, I'm good. I'm not one of those to where it's just like, I'm all depressed now and
Oh, so you don't run red lights?
excuse me.
You don't run red lights.
Uh, I I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna say I haven't. I'm not a fan of parting the Red Sea. I will
Okay.
say that. I'm not a
Red
fan
rum.
of it,
Red rum.
but
Because
there are
sometimes,
times, there are times, depending on the person you're with, depending on the kind of connection you have, to where certain things that you might mind, you don't mind.
yeah, because I
Mhm.
With
mean,
so I think it depends on the person. It depends on the relationship and the connection you have.
because girls, I mean, we get extra horny sometimes on a period, and
I heard that.
yes.
I've been told that.
I don't know why, but it happens at times.
I'll take one for the team if need be, but like I said, it goes back to that some things we do not because we want to, but
Look,
because we kind of
the water stop it. Go get in the pool. Go get in the shower. The water stops it.
does it
Yeah, that when you get in the pool or the shower,
Learning something new.
it's yeah, it slows it up. I don't know why, but it slows it up.
really?
hmm Yeah,
So, like Jessica asked, though, when it comes to sex, about who would do you initiate it, or do you wait for her to initiate it? That's what you
Uh,
meant, right? When you said,
hmm
okay.
honestly, it depends on the severity of the stiffness within. Because there have been times where it hit me so hard to where I can't, darn, no pun intended, but it hits me so much to where it's like, yo, yeah, let's, and then it's easier now because my kids don't live with me.
Mm.
So it's not like I have to worry about, them coming in or having to tend to them. So if it hits me for the most part, hey, I can make something happen. But yeah, I'll say more times than not though, for whatever reason, I've always been in situations where the woman initiates.
Okay.
It just works out that way, so and I don't mind.
And if you initiated it and then she wasn't feeling it, would you look at that as rejection? Like,
No,
or would you? Okay.
Mm.
no. I just stop I don't hate to say it, but I'm saying this a lot knowing the person you're with
Mm-hmm.
because I don't I'll know that there's a reason. It's not me per se.
Mm-hmm.
She's dealing with something because I know it's more mental than physical. So if you're not all the way straight here or, spiritually, certain things aren't going to operate well. And I definitely don't want a woman sleeping with me just because I want it. I want her to want it as well. So it's not going to turn me on to know that she's doing it just to be doing something. And she feels like Celie laying there and Mister just doing his business. You know what I mean? I don't need that.
So you're not one of those men is like, well, I mean, your mouth worked though.
I might say it, but I ain't gonna say I've never said it. But at the end of the day, if I really felt like something was off, I wouldn't say it. But in a playful like thing, like might have it where she get off work or something like that and be like, no, I'm tired. I'll be like, yo, you're gonna do something, But if it's a situation where you kind of feel the energy and it's something serious, nah, I'm not a presser type dude.
Okay. Good. Did you have any
But
questions?
have
Oh,
you
go ahead.
guys been in those situations?
Oh,
Have
go
you been in a situation where there was nothing like really emotionally wrong? Maybe you just kind of didn't feel like it, but you knew your man wanted to get down. I mean, how do you handle that?
Well, yeah, see, I guess my night before my wedding, my grandmother said, you cannot tell him no. So yeah, sometimes, I will give in, even if I really don't feel like it, and be a team sport. But then I guess all depending on situation, sometimes I'm really like, no, it's not gonna happen. As I got older, when I was younger, I think I gave in a lot more. But as I got older, and I'm like, not really today. But if I see his face and it looks like disappointment, then I go, all right, come on, it's all right.
yeah. With me, I'm just like, I'm not getting in and out of this if I really don't want to do it. So I'm not gonna do it. But I have a lot of other things that like I've had a hysterectomy. So it's like I go through premenopausal type of situations, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm doing a lot, and then still taking care of the house sometimes. So it's like, and then when we first started, we were heavy drinkers, partying. Oh, let's try this, let's try that, da da da. So now that we don't do any of those things, I have to get to know my body on a different level. So it's just like, okay, well, maybe you can caress my head, or maybe you can do this, or maybe we could play a game. So I try to find different ways to spice it up, because he's like you, he will think about it all the time. And I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I need to get you some toys. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to, yeah, let me figure something out right quick. But
It's not the same for us.
I
The toys,
know, I
that's you
know,
guys' area.
That
I
that's
mean,
what my husband
it's
said.
not the same. It's not,
I
and that mouth
know.
still works, like you said.
But I'm just like, okay, would you prefer me to do it if I'm not in the mood, and then it's like the desert? Like, that ain't gonna feel good to me. The juices got to be
It
flowing.
don't
I
feel
want to be
good to us
in
either.
it. But
Yeah.
like when you said about twice a week, I'm like, damn, I gotta step my game up. I know I do. I knew I always needed to, but I have been to the doctor to find out about, do I need extra testosterone? Like, do I need a cream, a gel? Like, is something broken? So you just never know what, and then we're in our heads. Sometimes women can be in their heads thinking like, can they feel it? Is it tight enough? Is it da, 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 da? Is it like, I can't put my leg around my neck no more? So I don't like, damn, I can't breathe. He folded me up too much. So it's like, it's a lot that goes with it. Because y'all do put in work, and I commend you for when you do, because that's a lot. I'm like, even some positions for me, I'm like, my legs hurt. This don't feel good. Like, how long are we gonna do
Yeah,
this?
I had one say that one time. She was like, "Look, can we please put my legs down?" And I I had to. Sometimes we get so into it, we don't think about, darn, she is folded up like a pretzel right now. Let me doggone.
I'm like, damn,
So
I just ate dinner.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And what I found out though, there's a lot of ways to, and I didn't find this out till later in life. There are a lot of ways for us to be pleased that, don't even involve penetration. So there, like when you say there are times when you don't feel like it, kind of it's I have literally had a cuddling session that got me there and got her there, that there was no penetration.
Like high
You
school.
know,
That's hunching.
I used to call it hunching when I when I was growing up. But it's like it almost didn't even make it to the hunching part because there we were just so connected. You know, it started out as just like a little kiss and makeout session, and it just became something so much more. And then the mood was set right. You know, it was soft jazz playing, and it we kind of just got lost
You think
and
Erica got good
realized
on you.
we got there and didn't even get naked. You know, so I think that that just goes to what we were saying though about knowing yourself and knowing your partner. 'Cause when you start breaking down those peeling back those layers of who you actually are, you start finding out things about yourself that you never knew.
Yeah.
Right. I completely understand. And we are about to wrap it up. This has been a good conversation. We could
Yes,
probably go
yes.
on for hours
I
and
know. I
hours
Been
and
darn
love
hours.
good.
hours.
So we're
I
gonna have
really
to
Yes.
bring
enjoyed
you
it.
back on.
I'll
Yes.
be here.
Yes. So how can people connect with you?
Well, they can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is KingshiD Productions, KINGSHID Productions. I'm on Instagram as Sálid Sims, KingshiD1, one of the two. TikTok, KingshiD Productions. What else? Twitter, Sálid Sims. Facebook, Sálid Sims. Yeah,
And on
or they can meditate,
Spotify.
try to catch me. Yeah, Spotify, KingshiD Talk. That's right. So yeah, that's how people can connect with me, and whenever I get to be blessed to be with you guys, they can see it and hear me here. So
Yeah.
I want to say though that I truly do appreciate you guys' platform. I commend you. I'm sending out all positive energy to you. I love to see our queens doing a lot more than people think you guys are capable of doing. So I'm inspired. I'm motivated by what you're doing. You guys are absolutely awesome. I felt so comfortable. I'm loving it. Keep doing it. And I listen to your podcast.
Thank you so much. I really
I
appreciate
love
it.
how you are. I love how
Wow.
professional
Thank
you
you.
are.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Any closing words, my beautiful co-host?
Just continue to have a great week into the weekend and see you next week.
I'll be listening.
All right. Talk to and see you later.
Have a
Out.
good
Bye.
one.